في كتير طرق وسط الحياة تاهوا فيها ناس، وطرق تبان مفروشة ورد وتنتهي بألم وضيق، لكن الطريق للفرحة وطريق الخلاص عند المسيح. أصل المسيح هو الحياة، هو الطريق 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 الطريق
Glad to be back on air, glad to be back on the Way TV. I am saddened by what's happening over in Europe. I'm saddened by all of these invaders coming to Europe and also to the United States, very close to where I live, San Bernardino. They're coming here. This is a map of the United States. Each one of the dark dots, the black dots, represents a Saudi Arabian-funded mosque. At 100% of these mosques, the influence of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Boko Haram is all in every one of these mosques funded by the Saudi Arabians. We have all the proof, evidence, and facts on this. You can look up Steve Murley, Hudson Institute, Muslim Brotherhood in America. On page 51 and 52, he lists about 35 of the different organizations. Also through Freedom House, they have hate-filled ideology invades all the Saudi-funded mosques in the United States. The Saudi-funded mosques are about 99.9%. This map represents all of the Saudi Arabian mosques in the United States. 100% of these mosques are teaching ISIS is good. They're influenced by ISIS. And a number of these mosques, like the one in Phoenix, where 2 of their members were shot to death not too long ago because they were practicing members of ISIS. You will remember in the past I've shown videos with me on the Arizona border talking about ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Muslim Brotherhood coming across, and now with people's eyes beginning to open up and ears open up, what's happening in Europe. People are being arrested who are members of ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, Taliban in the United States. We've talked about this for a long time. For many years now, for 5 years, Hamza, for 5 years, I have been talking about the Muslim Brotherhood in all of these mosques. I have been ridiculed and laughed at. Now, all of a sudden, my phone is ringing off the hook with golly gee whiz, Shazam, you were right. Okay, now, a challenge for all you imams in the United States or Canada. I will debate any imam in the United States and Canada. I will debate any bona fide imam in the United States and Canada on the subject, was Muhammad the perfect man? And imams, if you win, if you convince me that Muhammad was the perfect man, I will convert to Islam. The challenge is on. Any bona fide imam in the United States or Canada, I will go out there and debate you. I don't care if I'm the lone guy all by myself and there's 10,000 Muslims in there. I've been surrounded by Muslims. One time 15 Muslims all looking like ISIS. Another time about 250 Somali Muslims in San Diego. Okay, so once again, call up all your Muslim buddies, call up all your imams, bona fide imams, and let them know the challenge that Steve Klein is dropping down, that I will debate you, was Muhammad the perfect man? And if the imam can convince me that Muhammad was a perfect man, I'll convert to Islam. Okay, I saw this the other day. I get a lot of stuff coming through. It says, pray for Paris. They crossed out pray and they put in fight. Now, I agree with this. Now, Christians, don't jump on me. listen, here's my thinking as a Christian. Faith without works is dead. Prayer without action lacks faith. Faith without works is dead. Prayer without action lacks faith. Prayer and faith equals courage and action. Christian, yes, yes, yes. We can defend ourselves as King David did when he killed the Palestinian Philistine Goliath. He was named a man after God's own heart because he protected God's men. It's coming out now. It's coming back to roost. I've been talking about this. George Bush years ago lied to us and has allowed the Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, Taliban to grow in these mosques all over the United States, in Paris, France, all of Europe. George Bush said years ago, right after they blew up the World Trade Center, the face of terror is not the true faith of Islam. That's not what Islam is all about. Islam is peace. These terrorists don't represent peace. They represent evil and war. Well, they represent evil and war because Muhammad, that's what Muhammad was. Muhammad was evil and he was war. 22 verses in the Quran command the Muslims to do that. Now, falling into the same trap of not understanding Islam is based on what did Muhammad do. Islam is Islam peace? Jeb Bush, who's running for president of the United States, in a clip here, I watched him, he said Islam is peace. I don't believe it. Hillary Clinton came out today and said that our adversary is not Islam. Right there, Hillary Clinton there, she's all dressed up like a Muslim. There's the Muslim in chief of the United States, Obama. There's old Hillary, she's all dressed up like a Muslim chick. And she's saying that we're not at war with Islam. Islam is not our adversary. Well, you know what? That's correct. She doesn't think Islam is our adversary. She doesn't think we're at war with Islam. And so, same thing with Bush and with our military and everybody. We're fighting a defensive battle backing up all the time because we're afraid to tell the truth. The truth is not offensive. The truth is good. The truth is love. Speak the truth in love. Well, if you speak the truth, but you leave out portions of the truth, if you just say, hey, Islam is peace or submission, you're lying. Islam is not peace. Islam is war. Islam is all about killing us. Here's George W. Bush years ago. This guy here, this is Prince Al-Walid. He owns controlling interest of Fox News. You can look it up online, 7%, which is enough to be controlling. He also owns huge portions of Disneyland. Okay, Adam, are you ready? Clip number 1. Go ahead.
Des gagnants au loto ont gagné, ouais, mais il n'y a que qui gagne. Il y en a 55 millions qui jouent qui ne gagnent jamais. La réalité c'est ça. Faut arrêter de croire les promesses des gens. Il y a une certaine crédulité, moi, qui m'étonne. On vous annonce, on va distribuer de l'argent comme ça. Vous avez vu ça où, dans quel pays? Mais aux États-Unis, c'est les États-Unis, c'est pas la France. Ah voilà. Vous êtes en train de découvrir qu'entre la France et les États-Unis, il y a l'Atlantique. Il y a l'Atlantique. Voilà. C'est tout, moi j'y peux rien. Bon, en tout cas, ce que je vous dis, c'est ça, c'est du sûr. J'ai pas l'habitude de raconter des phrases. C'est annulé aujourd'hui. Il n'y a rien. L'organisateur, vu l'affluence, a pris peur et il reprendra une prochaine fois. Voilà. combinant comme ça successifs avec un effet si on doit les intercoller éventuellement.
Okay, now that is Paris. That's not Paris this last week. That's Paris a year ago. 3 years ago, around Paris, there was over 300 cities that were attacked by the Muslim immigrants doing what did Muhammad do? Thank you, Adam. What did Muhammad do? What did Muhammad do? He attacked cities, he raped, he murdered, he was a necrophiliac, he was a pedophile, he was a child molester, we believe he was gay. There's 3 verses in the Quran, chapter 56, 2 verses in chapter 56, 1 in chapter 76 that talks about men can have sex with the little boys just like they can have them with the 72 virgins. Very perverted. Okay, now, going through, because we didn't understand, because we still don't understand Islam, what did Muhammad do? If you understand, what did Muhammad do? 4 words. What did Muhammad do? Then you understand the whole basis of Islam. Just like in Christianity, what did Jesus do? 4 words. Then you understand Christianity. Islam has always created the highest degree of hostility, disorder, slavery, poverty, and misogyny, whereas Christianity has always created the highest degree of peace, order, liberty, and prosperity. Now, when we tried to surge under Petraeus and General Jack Keane, a lot of people thought that was successful. We brought in a whole bunch of more soldiers, and what we did, I have a picture, this is a good friend of mine. This is a young man, a young Army soldier, holding $90,000 in $100 bills. What he was doing, at the order of the United States military, at the order of the Pentagon, at the order of George W. Bush, this is back in 2007, this young man was ordered to give this cash, $90,000, to a guy who we now believe is one of the leaders of ISIS in Iraq, a guy named Haider Mohan. Haider Mohan was contracted by the United States Army at the direction of General Petraeus and Jack Keane in the surge. In fact, I have pictures of these 2 fellows. Here we have General Jack Keane, and on the other side, we have General Petraeus. And these 2 guys, they convinced Congress, they convinced George Bush that by paying cash and bringing in more people, American soldiers, into theater and fighting, or just what we were doing, we were bribing and begging the Muslim Brotherhood, the old Republican Guard, and those guys not to blow our guys up. That was a huge part of the surge. We were giving away billions and billions of dollars, bribing these guys so that they wouldn't attack our soldiers. A lot of people don't know that. There's a great, you can look this up online. There's all kinds of proof, evidence, and facts on this. Another one of my friends, an Army captain, and he walked into a tribe of the Muslim Brotherhood, gave him $300,000 in cash, and then a couple of days later, my friend and this Army captain went into a police station in Baghdad, and they gave 100 AK-47s, 1 million bullets for the AK-47s. They left, and they found out within a few hours that the police, who were all Muslim Brotherhood, had left the police station. The forerunners of ISIS came in and took the 100 AK-47s and the million bullets. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of ISIS, giving away all this cash, billions of dollars of cash. The Muslim Brotherhood, Republican Guard, they all morphed. They became ISIS. They were patient. They took and held on to their money. And then when we left Iraq, we left all of these vehicles so that when you see ISIS going around and driving around, you'll see them using all of our American vehicles. They used our cash that we gave them for gasoline, bullets, and things of that nature. We didn't create ISIS as a deliberate act. It was stupidity, and it was foolishness. It was the stuff that we still are doing today with General Jack Keane, who's a big player on Fox News, and General Petraeus, who now has been kicked out of the CIA for mischievous conduct, doing bad things. Okay, clip number Arba. Clip number Arba. Most Americans believe it's un-American to regulate or prevent religion in America from existing. Let's flip it.
If the religion is un-American, is dangerous, can the First Amendment regulate it? Islam means submit. So a Muslim, Islam's verb, to Muhammad. What would Muhammad do? A good Muslim, Islam's verb, to Islam, does what Muhammad, the perfect man in Islam, would do. Muhammad is the paradigm example for proper behavior. So, should Islam be regulated or prevented depends on what would Muhammad do. Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl and had sex with her when she was 9. Muhammad lied, murdered, assassinated, beat his wives to have sex. See the Quran, Surah 434. Muhammad got his men by buying them with power, money, and sex. Muhammad, Islam, never mention the golden rule, just the opposite. Do unto others before they do unto you is a central message of what would Muhammad do. Keeping it simple, Muhammad developed his PMS, religion, power, money, and sex, and it has become an RPM religion, religious, political, and military. If you wish to be a good Muslim, then do what Muhammad did. You become RPM, religious, political, and military. So when you Islam, verb, to Islam, you may marry 6-year-old girls, lie, assassinate, beat your wife to have sex, etc. Consider history. History proves our government must regulate the First Amendment. It's not absolute. Schenck versus United States, 1919. The government must regulate dangerous speech and assembly. We cannot falsely cry fire in a crowded theater, and history proves that churches can be regulated. Reynolds versus the United States. Utah, a Mormon territory, was not granted statehood until the LDS gave up polygamy. History proves that Christian denominations that will not allow transfusions for their children, that the state must step in and regulate this, saving the life of the child. Again, for safety's sake. Is this un-American? No. History also regulates Southwest U.S. Indian tribes from using peyote hallucinogenic drugs in their ceremonies. Un-American? No. Is regulating Islam and regulating the building of a mosque un-American? No. 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 I am the infidel, I am the kafir, and I'm mighty proud of it.
All right. Hey, I did that video 6 or 7 years ago. It's still germane. And what we're learning now, in fact, I am an expert. My attorneys will attest to it. I have a team of 3 attorneys that help me, advise me, work with me. We go out and I organize First Amendment educational outreaches, taking the truth, taking the gospel out to mosques, going out there and talking to them for 2 reasons. 1, to give them the gospel, and also 2, because these are all terrorists, man. These dudes are all ISIS. They're all in bed with the Muslim. They are the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Qaeda, Taliban, and whatnot. Okay, so the state of the world, really, you've got the East here with their eyes open, and you got us with our eyes closed. That's pretty much it. Religion, the symbiotic relationship between religion and common law is very apparent. Now, in the United States, we've come up with this cliche called the separation of church and state. So I worked with it. My degree is in political theory, political science, the development of Anglo-American common law through today. And I kept coming into this wall that I couldn't penetrate. And everybody would just say, well, we have separation of church and state. And I thought, okay, I got to work with this. So I came up with an idea. And it's very good. It's true. I've run it past a number of scholars, and that's the symbiotic relationship between religion and common law. All governments rest on some common law, and all common law flows from some religion. Consider, this guy here is the mastermind of Paris, getting everybody killed. In his hand, in his right hand, is his game book, his playbook, his rule book, the Quran and the Hadith. All of the Muslim terrorist groups, all of the Muslims, they all operate under this book. What did Muhammad do? And this is their battle planning, everything else. The 57 Muslim countries of the world, 54 of them, in their constitution, it says Islam is the basis of our common law. The 3 that don't are Turkey, Malaya, and Indonesia. Turkey, by the way, the president of Turkey is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. You can see him online. His name is Erdogan. You can look him up under Google Images. He will often have his hand like that, the symbol of the Muslim Brotherhood. And we also know that he supports ISIS. Malaya and Indonesia are rapidly falling under the spell of this book, What Did Muhammad Do? Are these radical Muslims? No. According to the 22 verses in the Quran, these are good, bona fide Muslims doing what Islam did. So consider the common law of all 57 of the Muslim nations is based on, in their constitution, Islam, or their flag and a symbol of Islam, or their national anthem is Allah Akbar. So their common law is this book. It's Islam. It's their religion. Remember the symbiotic relationship between religion and common law. In ancient Europe, known as Christendom, which meant the domain of Christ, on the crowns of the kings and queens, they had a cross. And in their everyday use of the law, it was based on Christianity, the Ten Commandments. So again, in the East, the land of the Muslims, their common law was based on the Quran. Their common law is based on the Quran, the symbiotic relationship of religion and common law. In the West, now in this picture, we've closed our eyes. In the West, our common law was based on the Ten Commandments, the Bible. That's provable. We have the proof, evidence, and facts. It's in the Northwest Ordinance of 1784 and 1789 that religion being necessary to good government, then it was the job of the federal government to send out missionaries to teach the Ten Commandments, to prepare the territories to understand the Ten Commandments, so that when we made laws in accordance with the Ten Commandments, the people would not revolt. Okay, we will come back to that if we have time. The symbiotic relationship between religion and state. The Quran versus the Bible. I know today in the United States that's all been thrown out. I have books from 1957, the Department of Defense. As a former military officer, I had to read that book, and in there it states clearly the fundamental duty of every military officer in the United States, 1957, was to protect and defend the Ten Commandments, because that was the basis of our common law. The symbiotic relationship of religion and common law. Every government rests upon some common law. Every type of common law flows from some type of religion. The flag of India is the Hindu wheel, where they have karma and things like that. Clip number 5, Hamsa. That's Paris, not last week. That's Paris a year ago. That's back in 2014. Look, they're in Europe. They're going to get worse and worse and worse. We've shown that clip many, many times. You can go to whatdidmodo.com, my website, whatdidmodo.com. You can go there. I got about 15 or 20 half-hour to hour-long clips like this explaining and showing, as the Muslims grow 1% at a time, how they become more and more and more violent. Why? What did Muhammad do? What did Muhammad do? If you want to know the 5 pillars of Islam, it's not the Hajj, and it's not alms. No. It's not the Shahada. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. No. That's immaterial. That's de jure. That's written. That means nothing. The 5 de facto pillars of Islam are simple. What did Muhammad do? 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 You know what Muhammad did? He raped, he murdered, he was a pedophile, he had sex with a 6-year-old girl. He consummated marriage with her when she was 9 years old. He had sex with a dead woman. He was a cross-dresser. We have his wife, Aisha. I've showed it here on this show. You can see it on my clips at whatdidmodo.com, where Muhammad said he couldn't have visions from wearing other women's clothes, only from wearing his 6-year-old wife's clothes. That's called a transvestite. Okay, here we got Obama said, let me lie, make it perfectly clear ISIS is not Islam. Well, George Bush said the same thing. The Republicans and the Democrats said the same thing. Obama, ISIS is not Islamic. No religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim. That's immaterial. It's all, what did Muhammad do? This is in the United States, 1889. It's hard to see. These men are wearing prison uniforms in Utah. That's a president of the LDS. He was thrown in a federal prison by the United States government for polygamy, multiple wives. Finally, he had a vision, the prophet, the seer of the LDS, and decided that polygamy was not the will of God, and so they stopped doing it. But really, in reality, what happened, the federal government properly using their basis of common law, the 10 Commandments, you could only be married to one woman at a time, then they shut them down. They regulated religion is what I'm trying to say. This guy is a fundamental Latter-day Saint, fundamental Warren Jeffs. He was living in the same county where I do business in Arizona. He was arrested by the federal government for having sex with underage girls, with minors, a child molester, a pedophile, and he's in federal prison today. We can absolutely regulate religion. Anwar al-Awlaki, whom we killed a couple of years ago in Yemen, he was a leader of Al-Qaeda after Osama bin Laden. Now, I met Anwar al-Awlaki about 2001, 2002. I was down in La Mesa, California by San Diego, and my team, I went out there with Bill McKeever, Gary Cass, and Phil Magnan, and some other guys, and we were talking with Anwar al-Awlaki. Anwar al-Awlaki was a crazy lunatic, but he was doing what did Muhammad do. He was a good, bona fide Muslim. Well, for practicing his religious beliefs, jihad, we killed him. Charles Manson is still in prison for exercising his religious belief. Charles Manson, the name of his group was the Family of God, and they believed murdering Sharon Tate and the LaBiancas was the will of God and part of their religion. Also, this is a little bit skewed, but think about it. Consider, already, Christians, you and me, can our children pray in public schools? No. Am I wrong? Is not the federal government regulating religion when they say that we Christians or Jews cannot pray in public schools? Yes, we are. Do I like it? No, I don't. Do I think it's right? No, I don't. But when you have people who are child molesters, or you have polygamists, or you have Anwar al-Awlaki killing people, or Charles Manson killing people, then the state does have a compelling interest to step in and stop that. By the way, under the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center and our current secular perverted form of government, the government today of the United States is so secular, it's perverted from what we used to be a Christian-led nation under our common law based on the 10 Commandments. But the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Law Center and all these other guys had to get rid of our common law, so they came in underground with all of these regulations of no crosses over memorials or on school or prayer. Now look, a lot of people complain because I say that Islam is RPM, religious, political, and military. It is. And here's a picture of King David getting ready to cut off the head of Goliath, who was a Philistine, the the modern day for Philistine is Palestine. And he was a man after God's own heart. So I would ask all of you Christians who tell me that I cannot defend my family. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, if I do not defend my family, if I do not take care of my family, I am worse than an infidel. Think about that. Also under the two great commandments, to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, is similar to that, to love your neighbor as yourself. If I, as a former military guy or a policeman or a brave man, has to step in because you're a Quaker or you're a pacifist and you refuse to protect your wife, you are not fulfilling the two great commandments. You're not loving your neighbor as yourself. In fact, you're forcing me to risk my life when you are afraid to protect your wife. She being brutalized, being raped, and murdered. And also, if you do not resist, you're guilty of rape, you're guilty of murder, because if you don't say anything, silence is consent. Quitas consentire videtur. You are equally guilty of that crime. I think this will be our last clip, and we're out of time, right, Adam? Out of time right now? Huh? No more time. Okay? Sorry about that. We'll see you soon. God bless you. Pray and act. If you don't pray and act, maybe you're lacking faith. God bless y'all. Good night.
في كتير طرق وسط الحياة تاهوا فيها ناس، وطرق تبان مفروشة ورد وتنتهي بألم وضيق، لكن الطريق للفرحة وطريق الخلاص